Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'm your host today, Jim Cockrum. It's just you and me hanging out. I've got some content today. I'm kind of talking to Amazon, the company, but you're allowed to come along for the ride. It's a look inside of some of the things that I think are just so obvious that Amazon should be doing that would make life so much easier for us as sellers, make our businesses so much more profitable. But that's not the point of Amazon, is it? No, the point of Amazon is to also serve their customers very well and to make a profit as a company, right? Well, the suggestions I have do all three. And I think they're very smart decisions that could be made by Amazon as a company. And the nice thing about all of them is they really wouldn't cost anything, very little. These are decisions that could be made in a day, a switch that could be flipped. So I think they're some very valuable ideas that deserve some attention. And I thought, since I've got this voice in the industry, since we've got this platform, hey, why not send a shot over the bow? Hey, Amazon, if anyone's listening, flip these switches so you can make more money, so your customers, your shoppers will be happier. And the sellers, those of us who keep the shelves filled at your hundreds of warehouses, well, we'll be making more money too, building our businesses right alongside of Amazon, serving the customers together. But hey, if you're new around here, this isn't a typical episode. If you're new to as a listener to this show, Silent Sales Machine Radio, as we approach 1,000 episodes of this podcast, hundreds of our episodes have been interviews with the successful students from our community. That means they've taken our training or our coaching. They've gone through maybe the proven Amazon course, which was the first Amazon seller training in the industry. It's a library of content that is constantly updated with all the latest strategies and insights for all the different business models of using Amazon. Why Amazon? Why are we so focused on Amazon? I recently asked some people who are fairly new to our community, do you know why we're so focused on Amazon? Have you ever heard the story? And they were unfamiliar with it. So I share this often as one of the leaders in our community of 80,000 people. That's how big our Facebook group is. It's free, by the way. There's a link at silentjimdotcom if you want to join us. But one of the things that I find myself doing as a leader in this community is repeating a lot of the same information frequently so that the new people can get up to speed. And one of the things I like to share with those who are maybe on the newer end before I dive into our content today is the fact that Amazon is pretty much half of all e-commerce in the United States. If you see it on a pie chart, you'll see Amazon is like 50%, and then you got eBay at like 3% and Walmart, 8% and those kind of things. You've got, no one else is in double digits and Amazon's at 50%. You add up the next 5, 7, 10 closest competitors that Amazon has and added together, they're still far smaller than Amazon. That means that's where all the shoppers are. That's where all the opportunity is. That's where the low-hanging fruit is. And from my vantage point, that's where the hundreds of warehouses with literally millions of the most boring, everyday, easily sourced products are understocked. That's right. We've demonstrated repeatedly recently that Amazon's hundreds of warehouses are, in many cases, understocked on millions of the most common, boring products. We demonstrate that all the time around here. So that's the opportunity we love to teach. And most of our episodes are interviews with the students who've been through our proven Amazon course training. They're in the process of building a beautiful business, or they've been through our coaching program. We're getting very excited around here these days about Walmart as well. We're training on it. We've got all kinds of great tools and strategies for Walmart that are emerging. A great community of sellers is what we have here. Basically, we're a group of people that love to use the internet creatively to build beautiful businesses that we can be proud of while building multiple streams of income. That's what we do. But we focus on Amazon because that's where the opportunity is. Not only are they half of all the activity online every day, they are also in the fastest growing economic sector in the United States. That's right. E-commerce is the fastest growing, most explosive industry to be in if you want to build a business. So we live at the greatest time in human history to launch or grow a business. I've said that for years, and it continues to be true. We also are in the fastest growing industry, and we're on the platform that has more customers than any other. And the future looks very bright because if you didn't know, and I'll wrap up my presentation on the viability of the stuff we teach in just a moment. But if you weren't aware, far less than 20%, something around 15 to 17% of all retail in the United States is online. That's a really small number. Most people guess far higher. If you didn't hear me the first time, far less than 20% of retail spending in the United States is online. Now, like I said earlier, Amazon is half of that, but it's a tiny piece of the pie, but it's growing and it's growing rapidly. What does that mean? The future for e-commerce is very bright. Now is the time to be learning these skills. There's no better time than right now to get going. And it's wide open. Amazon needs so many more sellers. I know that's not something you'll necessarily hear a lot of other places, but that's because we have a different vantage point on Amazon. Again, we've demonstrated and we prove constantly that there are millions of underserved listings on Amazon right now in their hundreds of warehouse network. That means anyone can come in and start serving that unmet need. Okay, well, let's get into it a little bit. I'll have a little bit more to share on some of those opening comments as we go into this. I think it was important for me to introduce some of the foundational basics today because part of the premise of today's show is, hey, Amazon needs to be playing a little more cooperatively with us as sellers. They'll make more money. The shoppers will be happier. And of course, we as sellers will have a smoother path and things will go great too. Now, you may think that I'm going to hop on all the hot button issues like, hey, Amazon, stop with all the IP alerts, or hey, Amazon, what about the fees? Or hey, Amazon, what about this policy? Or that? Those things have really never bothered me, at least not in the last 15 years or so. And let me explain why. A lot of these complaint issues that you'll hear among sellers in various communities and various groups, it's coming from people who haven't been doing it very long. Because people who've been doing it a while successfully understand that that's business. Meaning, 23 years ago when I was on eBay, I remember very clearly the first time when eBay was the only game in town, right? And the first time eBay talked about raising fees from like 15 cents to 18 cents, whatever it was, per listing or, whatever back in the day, back, 20 plus years ago when everything was half the price it is now. All the sellers that were online and posting, they lost their minds. They went nuts. And I was tempted to join in the chorus. eBay's evil. How dare you raise the fees? This is going to crush our businesses. This is a terrible policy change, blah, blah, blah. But as the dust settled within 2 or 3 weeks, come to find out, shoppers were still shopping and plenty of people were still profitable. How is that possible? I thought the world had ended. I thought the sky had fallen and the game was over. No, of course not. I've seen 100+ changes like that on eBay and Amazon between the two. We counted them up. Over 20 years, we've seen at least 5 or more major changes every single year on platforms like eBay and Amazon that directly have an impact on the fees and the, let's say, the convenience of using those platforms as a third-party seller. What happens every time is the same thing. It's just like any other tax or tariff or fee that you're charged, usage, platform, shipping, whatever it is, the fee, the fine, it doesn't matter. Who pays for all that stuff? Well, the customers do, the shoppers do. The prices just go up. So here's the red flag to look for. Here's where I'll get concerned when Amazon changes policies or changes prices or things, it gets more expensive to do this or that, or, this new fee comes along and everyone loses their minds. Well, I never get nervous about any of that. Here's why I will get nervous is when the shoppers stop shopping. When the shoppers stop showing up and shopping, that's when you can start saying, okay, the fee, the fine, the policy, whatever. It's had an impact now. But until then, all you have to do as a seller is find profitable inventory, raise your prices to offset any of the expenses you have, the same way business always has, and keep selling profitable inventory. if there's a recession, I'm just not cooperating. I'm going to keep on finding profitable inventory. People are going to keep on buying. It was crazy. For example, during COVID, people thought the economy was crashing and burning. No, we did very, very well. We got in front of the stuff that people were trying to buy. We found it. If it was profitable, we sold it. If it wasn't profitable, we stopped selling it. And that leads me to one of the suggestions that I have for Amazon. This would be a beautiful change. Literally, no one on the planet would complain if Amazon made this change. See if you can find anyone that you think would complain. I don't think anyone at Amazon would complain. I don't think any shoppers would complain. I know no sellers would complain. And this is my first suggestion if you're listening, Amazon. Get rid of suppressed buy boxes. Delete it. Delete that function completely. For those of you who don't know what a suppressed buy box is, let me tell you what I think it is, then I'll tell you what it is in reality. What I think it is Amazon saying they are not happy with the prices customers are willing to pay for a certain product. That's weird. Why would they care? I agree. It's stupid. Why would you turn off the pricing options for some products? Simply because you don't like what people are willing to pay for that product, you're going to hide the price? It's insanity. Now, here's how you experience it as a shopper on Amazon's platform. You may have noticed this before. You're scrolling along and you're looking at products and you're considering buying. Maybe you got 15 different products on the page, and 12 of those 15 products have a price right there. Boom. This is the default buy box price. Maybe there's 30 or 50 people selling that product, but Amazon has said, hey, here's the product, the price point that we think you'll like. Here's the seller we think you'll like. Fastest delivery speed maybe as a factor, maybe the best price as a factor. And it kind of takes a stab at like, hey, here's the one we think you're going to probably choose if you looked at all your options. And on 12 of them, you see a buy box price, you see a default price. But on a couple of them, there's no price showing. Like, what's going on here? So you click on the item and there's still no price showing. And it has a little button over here that says you can see the price options. There's no preferred option here. So click a button so you can go see the prices. Well, as a smart seller who's been selling for 14 years on Amazon, I see those as huge opportunities because, again, what Amazon is saying at that moment is, we don't like the prices that shoppers are willing to pay for this item, so we're going to hide the prices. It's insane. It's ludicrous. It's going through a whole bunch of extra work to create inconvenience for your shoppers and for your Amazon as a company and for sellers. What sense does it make? What purpose does it serve? It is a completely useless feature that requires a ton of work and programming and effort to implement and to turn on, that serves literally no good purpose in the end. Zero value for anyone, complete inconvenience for everyone. Yet it's a feature. And there it is, day after day, making no sense whatsoever, except to serve as a little hint for us as sellers. There might be some significant opportunity here. So on the one hand, Amazon, if you want to keep that feature in place, okay, I'll continue to teach it and use it as a flag of opportunity for smart sellers. Because what ends up happening is shoppers do figure it out quite often, how to click the button and see the price offers, and then they select one anyway. And like I said before, it's typically higher prices than Amazon thought the shoppers should be paying. It's like they're treating shoppers like they're kindergartners. Now, little Johnny, don't spend $2 more than you should on that bottle of glue. We're going to hide the price just so you know you might be spending a little more than you have to get it conveniently. Shoppers don't need to be coddled like that. It's, again, ludicrous. Amazon, turn off suppressed buy boxes. It's such a silly feature. But as long as it's there, I think smart shoppers will continue to use it as an indicator of opportunity. And some of the favorite products that we sell on in my personal Amazon selling account are those products that have suppressed buy boxes because, again, I'll say it a third time, it's Amazon's little way of saying, hey, sellers, We don't like the high prices that shoppers are willing to pay for this item. So you might be smart to hop in there and sell a few yourself. Yeah, that's a great one. Well done, Amazon, shooting yourself in the foot while creating inconvenience for everyone else. That's example number one, suppressed buy boxes. Let's get rid of them. All right, here's suggestion number two. Again, the premise being, man, it just doesn't take a lot of work to do this one either. This is simple. I mean, I could get a high school level programmer to implement this instantly across the entire platform. It's just not rocket science, but you don't do it. And I don't know why you don't do it. I'll give you a scenario where this comes into play. Have you ever been shopping on Amazon as a shopper? Let's talk from the shopper experience vantage point, and you come across a product and there's like 150 people selling this product. Wow, that's a lot of options. Now, we all know the inconvenience of eBay, where you have to look at potentially 50, 80, 500 listings, and they're all different little websites selling the same product. Like, oh, wait, this guy's charging shipping. Oh, wait, this guy isn't. Oh, this guy's used. Oh, this guy's as good as new, but the box is a little wrinkled. I don't know. Maybe I just want a new clean. So it's like looking at listing after listing. So one of the reasons that Amazon dominates is because they've removed a lot of that inconvenience, but they've held on to some of that inconvenience. Because what they don't allow you to do as you're looking at the, say, 50 to 80 sellers selling the same item, is they don't let you sort by fastest delivery speed. Now, you may not believe me, but hop on there as a shopper and just look around and find some very popular items with a whole bunch of sellers and take note of the fact that you can't sort by delivery speed. It's not a function. What? That's confusing to me. Why shouldn't I be able to sort by delivery speed? And say, who can get it to me the fastest? What's my fastest option? I don't care who the cheapest option is. What's the fastest option? There's 80 people selling this thing. Who can get it on my desk, on my front porch, the quickest? Maybe I'm not price sensitive. Maybe paying an extra 75 cents or $2 or $18 or whatever it is I want to pay doesn't matter. I want it fast. Amazon does not accommodate you as a shopper if you want it fast, unless you're willing to look at every single seller on the list, scrolling down. There's some products that have hundreds of sellers. That's right, hundreds of sellers. And the inconvenience created by forcing me as a shopper to scroll through every single seller option to see who can get it to me the fastest. Well, that's just painful. Don't do that to me. Make it possible for me to sort by fastest option. As a matter of fact, Amazon, if you want to make more money, create more convenience and opportunity for the shoppers and for the sellers, and have happier shoppers. As a shopper, I want to know what my fastest option is. Put it right there alongside the lowest price. That's fine. Let me make that decision. But they don't do it. Hey, before we get back to the episode, let me take just a minute to thank a great sponsor of this community, of this show, Profit Cyclops. Get over to silentjim.com/Cyclops, Cyclops, and see the $2 per month offer that they have for new sellers. If you're running a small Amazon selling business that hasn't done $5,000 or more per month yet, but you would still like to know with tremendous insight which of your products are making you money and which ones are not, you've got to know your numbers, and Profit Cyclops lays it all out right in front of you very quickly. So easy to set up. Just plug it in and you're going to know your business in a way that you've never known it before. And look at this. For just $2 per month, you also get a reimbursement service, which means they're monitoring what Amazon owes you. Pretty cool. They're also doing repricing for you, a new feature they're rolling in. $2 per month. Get over to Profit Cyclops and check them out at silentjim.com/Cyclops, Cyclops. Tell them we sent you. Check them out. You can't go wrong for $2 a month. These guys have been doing it the right way for a long time, and we're honored to bring them on as a sponsor of our community. Let's get back to the episode. Put it right there alongside the lowest price. That's fine. Let me make that decision. But they don't do it. So we've seen, and this is huge opportunity, and it would be even bigger if Amazon would make this change. But as sellers, we've observed in our community that shoppers find the fastest options, even if Amazon makes it inconvenient to do so. What do I mean by that? Today, as millions of people are shopping on Amazon, millions of people will pay far less than they were willing to pay for items that will arrive far later than they wish they could get them. Rewind it and listen to that statement until it makes sense, because there is huge opportunity in that statement I just made. I'll say it again one more time before I move forward. Today on Amazon, millions of shoppers will pay far less than they were willing to for items that will arrive later than they wish they could get them. We call that the underserved products on Amazon. Let me give you a very specific example. Again, this is a student from our community. It's an extreme example, but we see these kinds of things all the time. I've provided hundreds of examples of Keepa charts, of data, basically, that prove that this is correct. And I'll put a link in the show notes today where you can go see that. That's from my own Amazon selling account, hundreds of examples. But we had a student who was one of 200 sellers on a product. That's right, 200 competitors on a product. But he observed that most of the sellers, all but just a handful of those other sellers, were merchant fulfilled sellers, meaning of the 200 people selling this easily sourced product, most of them were selling it out of their own garage, which meant the fastest possible delivery time for the shoppers was 3 or 4 days later. So what shoppers were doing is scrolling through this big list of shipping options and seeing 3 days, 4 days, 6 days delivery times. And again, Amazon makes it very inconvenient for you to find the fastest delivery time. They'll suggest one buy box price, but that's not always the fastest delivery time. If you want the fastest delivery time, you got to scroll through all the sellers. Huge inconvenience, by the way, for a company that's supposedly creating convenient shopping experiences. You're completely throwing that concept out when you don't let us see the fastest date. But let's go back to the example. This is a coaching student of ours, very real story. He sold 2,400 units of a product as a competitor with 200 other people on the same listing. And that's not the best part of the story. The best part is those 200 other sellers were all priced cheaper than him. That's right. He was the highest priced seller on an ASIN with 200 competitors, and he sold 2,400 units in a couple of weeks. Why is that? Well, it makes no sense at all. If you're thinking, why would a customer pay more than they have to? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, it makes total sense. People wanted it quickly. People didn't want to wait 3 or 4 days, which was the option of all the other sellers. There was only a handful of sellers, I think it was 4 or 5 of them, that had FBA units that had sent that product into Amazon's warehouses, making it super fast for the people who lived near one of the hundreds of warehouses where the inventory had been distributed. Right? If you live in a major city, you've seen this. You've been on Amazon, you've been shopping, and you've seen a product that could be delivered in 2 hours. Wow, that's cool. Not everything can be delivered that fast, but some of it can. Well, what if all of it could? What if a whole lot more of it could? What if, say, 5% of Amazon's catalog could be delivered to you in 2 hours? What if that was suddenly 20% of their catalog that could be delivered to you that fast in major cities? That's underserved shelf space. Those fast-moving, fast-selling items that just aren't distributed well enough throughout Amazon's hundreds of warehouse network. Once you're smart enough to understand that, hey, there's a whole lot of shoppers out there who don't care about saving a few dollars. They want it fast. Well, then it starts to make a lot of sense that these kind of opportunities are out there. So let's go back to our seller, 2,400 units in just a few weeks. How did he do this as the highest priced seller? How in the world did he pull that off? He sent it into FBA. Amazon spread out his units throughout their network. The customers who lived near those warehouses sorted through those 100 plus 200 sellers and said, oh, there's a fast one. I could get it really fast from this guy. He wasn't winning the buy box. He was the highest priced seller. Amazon was saying, hey, shopper, if you're smart, you'll wait 3 days and pay $8 less. And shoppers were saying, I don't want to wait 3 days and pay $8 less. I want it now because you've got it in a warehouse near me. I'm picking that one and I'm paying almost 3 times buy box to get it because I can get it fast. My suggestion for Amazon, Accommodate those shoppers. Let shoppers sort by fastest delivery date, or better yet, this will light the whole platform on fire in a good way. Put right on every listing the fastest delivery option. Hey, you may have to pay a little bit more, but we can get it to you in 2 hours. Here's the price. Here's the seller. Highlight the sellers who are helping fill the underserved shelf space and providing speed and convenience. It kind of goes against your own philosophy, Amazon. This is me talking to you, Amazon. Sellers, come along for the ride. You might like this. Back in 2020, Jeff Bezos wrote a letter to investors, and he was bragging about all the time and convenience that Amazon had created, all the time and money that had been saved by people not having to get in their car and drive to the store. It was hundreds of billions of dollars. It only factored in time, not wear and tear on cars, about environmental impact concerns, nothing else like that, just time. And he only assumed that people's time was worth about $10 per hour on average, which people's time is worth a whole lot more than that. And it was still hundreds of billions in time saved. So, hey, Amazon, you're all about saving people time and creating convenience. How about you show us the fastest delivery option, please? A lot of shoppers don't care about saving an extra 75 cents or $2 or $5 or $12 if it means waiting an extra day or 2 or 3 or 5. We want to see the fastest delivery option. Show it to us. Put it right on the screen. Get rid of the suppressed buy box now. It's stupid. And show us the fastest delivery speed right on the product. Yeah, sure. Keep showing us the buy box and the price you think we'll like the best if we're willing to wait. If we're a coupon clipping grandma who likes to save 40 cents on mayonnaise and will drive 8 miles out of her way to save 8 cents a gallon on our gas, yeah, show us that price too. But a lot of us don't shop that way. A lot of us say, hey, I want it fast, and I'll pay a little bit more for it. That's the underserved shelf space in Amazon's hundreds of warehouses, by the way, and you can tap into it. Here's the good news as sellers. Plenty of shoppers are completely ignoring the buy box and finding the fastest delivery option, and they're willing to pay more for it. Huge opportunity. We talk about it around here all the time. Okay, so what's the third and final suggestion I have for Amazon? It kind of ties into the one that I just gave you, but it has to do with Amazon sharing some data with us that they don't currently share. And if they shared this data with us as sellers, we would be smarter in helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. Right now, we kind of have to guess. We use tools like Keepa, and it scrapes some data, and we make very educated guesses, and we've gotten really good at eliminating risk from the equation. So we kind of play cautiously. But there's some data that Amazon has that it doesn't use at all, to my knowledge. Maybe they use 2% of it, but it would completely clean that glass plate. We're looking through this fuzzy glass plate at the opportunity of Amazon when it comes to filling the underserved shelf space on the millions of items that are sold. We're kind of guessing our way in the dark a little bit, and we've built multiple seven-figure businesses. So many people in our community have done that using this less than perfect data. But why not pull back the curtain, Amazon? Why not tell us which warehouses are underserved on the most popular products? Which FBA warehouses have empty storage space right now on the most popular items? This is data that you have access to. You're not doing it yourself. While Amazon does sell a lot of products themselves, you're not selling all of the billion plus ASINs on your platform. Obviously, resellers are filling the shelves. We know 30 to 40% of those. Those of us who are going out and buying a few units at a time and helping fill the underserved shelf space, we're doing most of the heavy lifting and making sure that customers have options, shoppers have options, right? So give us the data we need. Meaning, you don't have to pull back all the data curtain, but please do tell us which warehouses are sitting empty on the most popular items. Why not? That would allow us to, one, instantly see just how many gaps there are. Again, I love that phrase that, as far as I know, I came up with it. I haven't heard a whole lot of other people using it yet, but I think it's kind of making its way into the Amazon selling lexicon, is underserved shelf space. A lot of people think, well, there's 3 sellers on that ASIN, so yep, no opportunity there. There's other people already selling it. If those 3 sellers have 2 or 3 units each, there's a lot of underserved shelf space in Amazon's hundreds of warehouses, right? Those 2 or 3 units are sitting randomly in different places. But the people who want it really fast from a warehouse near them, 2-hour delivery, they don't have that option right now. If it's a fast moving item and we know it's selling quickly and we know it's not sitting on every shelf in all of Amazon's warehouses, well, that's an underserved item. And there are millions and millions of them. You do realize that there are over 1 billion ASINs on Amazon, right? Just the US, meaning it would take us 32 years to just glance at each of them for 1 second. That's a lot of products. And the majority of them are eligible to be sold by resellers. That's us. Hundreds of millions of products that could be sold by resellers. That's a lot of underserved shelf space. And if Amazon would pull back the curtain just a little bit, this is suggestion number 3 for Amazon. It costs you basically nothing. Share the data. Tell us which of these most popular ASINs are underserved, meaning which warehouses are sitting empty right now. And arguably, this may take a little tech, but it's not rocket science. Allow us as sellers to fill the underserved shelf space rather than just sending all of our pallets to one location and then you kind of randomly move them around. Give us the opportunity to do that as well. Allow smart sellers to help fill the underserved shelf space, because I know in our business, the most profitable transactions that I'm making to very happy clients who are gladly paying more than they have to for speed, it's when I hop on those listings, those ASINs that are underserved, meaning there's warehouses with empty shelf space for that particular product. And there's customers who would gladly pay more given the option if they could get it fast. Again, today, millions of shoppers will pay far less than they were willing to for the convenience of just being able to get it faster. But they'll have to wait longer than they want because there's no warehouse. There's no product that they want in the warehouse near them. And if Amazon would cooperate with us as sellers and help us fill that underserved shelf space and give us the data that we need to do so, there's a whole bunch of us that would begin doing that. Instead of guessing, we'd be a whole lot more accurate. And customers would be happier. Amazon would make a whole lot more money because it'd be making more transactions at higher prices. And shoppers would be happier because you'd make our life easier and we'd fill that underserved shelf space at higher margins and make good profits. So Amazon, stop being afraid of shoppers who want to pay more money for speed. I guess that's the bottom line today, isn't it? Hey, Amazon, if anyone's listening, this is me knocking on the camera. Knock, 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 knock. Anyone there? Hello, hello. Stop being afraid of shoppers being willing to pay for speed. There's sellers out here who want to accommodate that. You could flip a couple switches and make that possible. And you'll make a whole lot more money. Your shoppers will be happier. Your sellers will definitely be happier. And it's good for all of us. Hey, hopefully you enjoyed this episode today. I want to wrap up by saying I think that these are such obvious suggestions that they will make their way into Amazon leadership at some point, and someone's going to say, "Hey, yeah, let's try it for a couple months. Let's turn off suppressed buy boxes and see what happens." What's the worst that could happen? You will receive no complaints from anyone. It's such a ludicrous idea. Turn off suppressed buy boxes. What's the worst? And then watch how that impacts shopper behavior, seller behavior, Amazon's bottom line. Go for it. So as these filter out, man, we have a very bright future as sellers and Amazon as well. We've just started this beautiful cooperative relationship. I know there's a lot of complaints back and forth, and people say things like, well, Amazon doesn't want third-party sellers. Like, that's ludicrous. If they didn't want third-party sellers, you know what they'd do? They'd get rid of third-party sellers. They would say, okay, third-party sellers, every transaction costs you $25 out of your pocket. What would happen to third-party sellers? We'd leave. We'd be done. There's no profit anymore, right? So it's not that. It's Amazon's trying to juggle the interests of the brands that are represented on their platform and customer service and customer support issues, providing a viable product at a profit while accommodating the shoppers who help fill the shelves. There's a lot of moving parts. I get it. But on some of these things where it's so obvious the change could be made and all parties involved are happier, including investors, all parties are happier. I think those changes are coming. I think those changes are inevitable. And that just makes a brighter future for all of us. Because again, the big trends are in our favor as shoppers, as sellers, and as platforms that meet the demand of helping shoppers build convenience into their life by getting the stuff they want to their front porch faster than ever. And all my suggestions have been in that direction today. So the future is bright because the opportunity is expanding. With just a little bit more information, the opportunity could expand even faster. Yes, I'm very optimistic on the future of being a reseller. I've been doing it for 23 years. I think the best days are ahead. Remember, e-commerce is only 15 to 17% of retail. It will soon be 20, 25, 30, 35%. And if Amazon's smart, they'll continue to lead the way. If they make some of these changes, especially, I think it'll be a huge opportunity. So if anyone at Amazon's listening, hey, I don't need credit for these ideas. I could care less. Let's create a better platform for the shoppers. Let's remove those barriers to them getting the stuff they want quickly. Let's give the shoppers what they want at the speed they want. They'll pay a little bit more for it. They'll be happy to do so. Sellers will make more money, provide more diverse product choices across your hundreds of warehouse network. If you give us the opportunity to do so, Amazon, you're going to make a whole lot more money doing this. Push back if you want. I'd love to have a private conversation. Like, what are the arguments against these ideas? Because I'd be fascinated to hear somebody lay out the case for why you should hide prices from customers or make it harder for them to find the fastest delivery option. It's nuts. Come on. Let's make these changes. Hey, if you're a new listener to this show, I want to remind you one last time before I let you go that most of our episodes aren't me ranting at Amazon. This is probably only the only time I've ever done it, actually. Most of our episodes are me interviewing the successful students from our community, proven Amazon course students or coaching students who've built beautiful businesses. We share their stories. We tell the good, the bad, and the ugly of what it takes to do this business. And it's so cool that we have hundreds of them. We've been teaching e-commerce and Amazon selling strategy longer than anyone to my knowledge, and we'd love to make you our next success story. So just scroll back in time, listen to some of those episodes, then when you're ready to get started and take your business seriously, give us a call, get on our calendar. There's a link at silentjimdotcom to our coaching, to our proven Amazon course as well. You can pay $39 a month and get all the Amazon seller training we have to offer, constantly updated library. It's an incredible opportunity. And one final thing, the Proven Conference is coming up at the end of May. We want you there. Find a way to make it to Orlando, Florida, the last 3 days of May 2025. That's the 29th, 30th, and 31st. It is the longest running Amazon seller training event in the world. We have over 40 breakout sessions, very new seller friendly. All kinds of great, encouraging, insightful, inspirational, very practical ideas and strategies. You want to be there. We have hundreds of us who gather every year, and it's going to be a powerful event this year, as it has been every other year. Can't wait to see you there. Get information on that at this website. Are you ready? It's 3 words. The website for the event in May is theprovenconference.com. Theprovenconference.com. Come join us. We'd love to see you in May. Get your tickets now. All right. God bless you, business building warrior. It's been great hanging out with you. Hopefully you felt inspired and encouraged by what I shared today. If you have a way to get this podcast episode in front of somebody at Amazon that can do something about these suggestions, please do so. Push it under their nose. And again, I'd love to have a private conversation with anyone who thinks that these are bad ideas so I can build up the case with more facts and data and evidence from what we're seeing that I think make these really smart for all parties involved. We'll have another great episode for you very soon. Thanks for spending time with me today.
Thanks for listening to this great episode of Silent Sales Machine Radio. We have a very quick announcement that you don't want to miss right now.
Does anyone out there ever feel uncertain when choosing an ASIN to test? Like, it's ambiguous and you're not really sure?
Yeah, or like you have to stand on one leg on the second Tuesday of the first week of the month if the moon is in retrograde.
Right. And hold your mouth right. You got to remember to hold your mouth right. Then you might possibly
consider testing that ASIN someday, maybe.
Right. Sometimes Keepa seems overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Like it's got so many data points. What if I'm missing something? I'm afraid I'm missing something, so I don't want to pull the trigger. Right?
Yes. Well, we host a 2-day workshop that will demystify the process of building a predictable, scalable, and sustainable book of business on Amazon.
Yeah, it starts with a pre-flight inspection of a listing. So you can answer the question, should I go any further with this ASIN or do I need to move on?
If you get past that, we're going to show you how to apply 3 simple yes or no questions that will help you decide whether to pull the trigger or not.
Yeah.
You know, like, is this even a good ASIN to test?
Right. And if you do decide to test it, we'll help you implement a framework for a 4-week testing process. And this process is clear and methodical, and it'll tell you whether you should replenish that ASIN or not.
Now, in these 2 days, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to practice how to apply these critical concepts together. It's intense, it's focused, and it's packed with frameworks, quizzes, and actionable information that really is going to stack the deck in your favor when finding your first 100 replenishable ASINs.
Or your next 100 replenishable ASINs.
Yes, I love it.
Yes. You're going to leave with a roadmap to create your foundational book of business over the next few months.
Our next workshop is May 27th and 28th in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah, but seating is limited. It's an intimate setting, but you'll be able to ask all of your questions, plus you'll hear all the questions of the other attendees.
Yeah, this is fun, dynamic, educational. It's a great experience where you will get to meet and work with other people who are doing the same things that you are with similar goals. Mm-hmm. Imagine how you would feel when you get back home after the workshop and you're feeling transformed from unsure to certain, from cautious to confident, from overwhelmed to empowered.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to stand on one leg anymore and hold your mouth right. Just
Right.
making sure, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So if you would like to feel that way, go to provenamazoncourse.com/100. That's provenamazoncourse.com/100. And we look forward to seeing you there because we're inspired by the accomplishments of others.
We're passionate about helping others reach their goals.
And we're committed to sharing the keys to success that have been shared with us.